Paris Memorial, honoring those who rescued Jews from the Nazis during World War II.
When George Filipov and others were arrested for vandalizing a Paris memorial last year, he insisted it was just a drunken act of vandalism. But then why did 3 of them immediately flee to Bulgaria? It followed other provocative acts of vandalism, including one where pigs' heads were dumped in front of mosques. Reports suggest the men are all linked to Russia's spy agency, the FSB. France has been a particularly staunch supporter of Ukraine. This trial may uncover whether the Kremlin wants to provoke division in France by way of revenge.
The BBC's Paul Moss. The U.S. will share closely held technology to allow South Korea to build a nuclear-powered submarine. President Trump made the announcement after meeting with the country's president. News and analysis, townhall.com. The Texas Education Agency is taking over the 70,000-student Fort Worth Independent School District.
That's because one 6th grade campus repeatedly failed to meet state academic standards. That campus, which drew refugee and immigrant students, was closed down after the 23-24 school year. The state will appoint new school board members and choose a superintendent. Many believe the legislature's education funding decisions have played an outsized role in districts' academic struggles. Budget deficits have districts increasing class sizes and shutting down many programs. Jason Walker reporting.
In long-awaited job cuts, just months after completing its $8 billion merger with Skydance, Paramount has begun layoffs set to impact roughly 2,000 employees, job reductions amounting to about 10% the company's total workforce. More on these stories, townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And good morning to the John Fredericks Media Network. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. We are delighted to be with you here today. It is Thursday, October 30th, 2025, day 30 of the shutdown. The Morning Rundown, as you know, is brought to you every weekday at this time by our friends at the Glock Store. The Glock Store, located just a few miles from the airport, right here in Nashville, Tennessee. So here we go. Here is the Morning Rundown for Thursday, October 30th, 2025. Number one, breaking news. Donald Trump and President Xi, the dictator who runs China, completed a trade deal in South Korea just a few hours ago. Between the United States and China, lots of goodies there. Soybeans will be purchased by China, and they got a rare earth deal. A big, Trump said it was on a 1 to 10 scale, it was a 12. Well, maybe, we'll see. And will China honor it? But Trump is now on Air Force One on his way back to the United States. There will be a Donald Trump visit to China. I think Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump will go to China in April of next year. And then a couple months later, President Xi and his wife will come to the United States. Number two, this is really, really big. Yesterday, Senator Ted Cruz, called for the impeachment of Federal District Court Judge James Boasberg for basically violating the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment rights and the separation the speech and debate clause of the Constitution and separation of powers by unlawfully issuing a subpoena for the phone records of 11 U.S. senators. Yeah, he called for the impeachment. I think, look, we need a new standard of impeachment. There have been, in the history of the United States, 15 federal judges have been impeached in the House. Only 8 of them have been convicted. I think it's time for a 16th. The 16th to be impeached should be Judge James Boasberg. We'll have a lot more on that. Number 3, this is a win in the courts. Remember yesterday we had Phil Klein on, and Phil Klein, the former Attorney General of Kansas, we talked about the federal district court judge in Chicago, the Obama-appointed federal district court judge, the obligatory, we've got to say that, who decided that she really wanted to be the Secretary of Homeland Security. And she ordered the Border Patrol executive, Gregory Bovino, to appear in her courtroom every day at 6 p.m. to give her a report on the operation going on to round up illegals in Chicago. Well, that was appealed to the Court of Appeals, and they said, don't have to do it. So good news from the courts. Number 4, speaking of appeals court, this is not a federal appeals court. This is an appeals court here in the state of Tennessee. Remember back in May of 2023, how long ago was that? 2.5 years ago, when we filed a lawsuit in state court to get all of the Covenant Killer manifesto documents and related documents from Metro Nashville Police. We lost that case in the trial judge here, Chancery Court in Davidson County, on the ridiculous claim by the intervening parents that they somehow that they own the copyright to these documents. We lost it based on that. And so now today, oral arguments will be heard in a 3-panel Court of Appeals panel today in Nashville, where we're saying, no, you got to overturn that decision. We think we'll win, but we'll see. Number 5, Erica Trump and J.D. Vance were at a big rally of Turning Point USA at Ole Miss last night in Oxford, Mississippi. 10,000 people showed up. It was something. Number 6, Tom Pappert will join us at the bottom of this hour. He'll talk to us a little bit to give us an update on this Schoology LGBTQIA History Month curriculum in Nashville, Tennessee. Does it in fact violate state law? Does that in fact violate Trump administration executive orders? I think so. We'll see. Number 7, Tom Zalestowski joins us in hour 2. He'll be talking about the reaction to all of this Arctic frost violation of law, bigger than Watergate. I think it's bigger than Watergate by far. And then number 8 will be joined by, in hour 3, Aaron Gobernson will join us, the official guest host of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We'll be talking about all of the candidates now running for mayor of Williamson County, Tennessee. For those of you outside of the Tennessee, Williamson County is the affluent county just south of Nashville, population 250,000 and growing, and it's a very important county in the state where I reside, and so obviously it's very important. Okay, there you go. That's the morning rundown for Thursday, October 30th, 2025, brought to you by our friends at the Glock Store, glockstore.com. Did you know that in addition to selling more Glock handguns than any other retailer in the country, that the Glock Store also gives away more Glocks than any other retailer? They continually run sweepstakes that give away Glocks, and this month is no exception. We have 2 more days in this month. October is Glocktober, and they're giving away the winner's choice of any stock factory Glock handgun. That's up to a $620 value. It's all free, including shipping to your nearest FFL. Now, the easiest way to enter is just to buy one of the GS limited edition pumpkin-themed stickers or patches. You'll then be automatically entered into the sweepstakes. 1 entry per sticker, 2 entries per patch. There's complete information as well as a no-cost entry method on the Glocktober giveaway page at Glockstore/GG. You know, this is all the brainchild of Lenny McGill, CEO, founder of the Glock Store. It's not enough that he's known all over the world as that Glock guy. Now he's getting known as that Glock giveaway guy. If you've always wanted a Glock, and especially a free Glock, visit Glockstore.com today. All right, now let's go right to Ted Cruz. This was a stunning revelation. I want to play it all right now. Clip 1, Ted Cruz yesterday at the Capitol.
Joe Biden's Watergate. Merrick Garland was a fundamentally corrupt attorney general. Jack Smith was a fundamentally corrupt prosecutor. This was a political enemies list from the beginning. 197 subpoenas for 430 Republican entities and individuals. That is an absolute and egregious abuse of power. The Biden Justice Department signed off on issuing subpoenas for the phone records of at least 9 U.S. senators. 20% of the Republicans in the United States Senate were the target of this fishing expedition. They did so in complete contravention of the Constitution, of separation of powers, of the speech and debate clause, of free speech, of basic rights of privacy. This is an executive who believes it is justified spying on their opponents in the legislature because they convince themselves the ends justify the means. I want to talk to you about one of those subpoenas. One of those subpoenas went from Jack Smith to AT&T, seeking my cell phone communications. It went to AT&T, and I actually want to commend AT&T for doing the right thing. AT&T is based in Texas. AT&T looked at that subpoena, and they went to their legal counsel, and they said, what should we do with that subpoena? And their legal counsel said, you cannot comply because this is protected by the speech and debate clause of the U.S. Constitution. And so AT&T declined to comply.
We're going to pause it right now. When we come back, we're going to hear Ted Cruz call for the impeachment of the judge, Judge James Boasberg, who signed those unconstitutional and illegal subpoenas. Back after this.
Rosie's in Richmond is revving up. October is all about horsepower at Rosie's Gaming Emporium. All month long, Saturday qualifier drawings put you in the fast lane to win. October 25th, one lucky guest takes a victory lap at a brand new 2025 Dodge Charger. Fast Track Rewards members earn entries daily with 10x entries every Wednesday. Rosie's in Richmond, home of the largest jackpots in Virginia. Are you ready? Get in the winner's circle at Rosie's Richmond, 6807 Midlothian Turnpike, rosiesgaming.com.
Do you think workers in Virginia should be forced to pay union dues and fees just to get or keep a job? For nearly 80% of Virginians, the answer is no. For Virginia to keep on thriving, Governor Youngkin got it right.
We have to protect right to work.
And Virginia's Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears agrees. As the Republican gubernatorial candidate for governor in Virginia, Winsome Earl Sears has pledged to protect Virginia's right to work law. Her opponent, Democratic candidate Abigail Spanberger, won't make that same commitment. In fact, she has repeatedly supported and voted for legislation in Congress that would repeal Virginia's right to work law. Demand that Abigail Spanberger pledge complete opposition to forced unionism. Call Abigail Spanberger, 804-223-0770. That's 804-223-0770. Urge her to promise that she will protect Virginians' right to work. This ad was paid for by the National Right to Work Committee.
Is your fur baby looking a bit rough? Transform them from shaggy to snazzy with Befur and After Pet Grooming in Marietta, Georgia. Their top-notch groomers pamper your pups with baths, custom cuts, and nail trims that'll have them strutting like show dogs. From mobile grooming vans to their cozy salon, they'll make your pet spa day a tail-wagging blast. Book now at BefurandAfterGrooming.com. Befur and After, where pets go from grr to glamorous.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Now more than ever, President Trump needs battle-tested conservatives fighting alongside him to save our country. That's why Trump endorsed Matt Van Epps for Congress. West Point grad, 9 combat tours, decorated Army vet. Matt Van Epps has devoted his life to defending America and the conservative values we cherish. Endorsed by Trump, fearless conservative. Tennessee's Matt Van Epps for Congress. School Freedom Fund is responsible for the content of this ad.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Boy, do we have some breaking political news. Yesterday, Senator Ted Cruz rightly called for the impeachment of federal district court judge James Boasberg in Washington, D.C. We'll get to Cruz and Marsha Blackburn talking about this in a bit, but let me set this up. According to the Constitution, a federal judge can be impeached by the House for high crimes and misdemeanors. And if impeached by the House, you just need a majority to impeach. Then it goes to the Senate, and you need 2/3 votes to convict. In the history of the United States, 15 federal judges, either at the federal district court level, the appellate level, or the Supreme Court level, 15 have been impeached by the House. Only 8 have been convicted. I think the last conviction happened in the 1990s. There were a couple of crooked judges that were taking bribes. Now, that's a crime, obviously. They were impeached and convicted and removed. In this instance, though, I think what we need to look at is we need to have somebody in the House step up and say, look, the standard here of a high crime and misdemeanor should apply to unconstitutionally issued and illegal subpoenas issued to violate the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, separation of the speech and debate clause of the Constitution, separation of powers in the Constitution, and then there's a Stored Communication Act that was violated by the federal district court judge in this manner. Now, we'll get more into Boasberg here in a minute. This is not his first violation. This was the FISA court judge, right, that signed all those phony affidavits that led to the spying on the Trump administration. This is also the same judge who had called out the Trump administration in March of this year and said they needed to be resisted. He's also the judge that kind of maneuvered to get the Tren de Aragua airplane case of all of the Tren de Aragua criminals that were deported to El Salvador. He's the one that rushed a verbal order to say, you got to stop that plane, and is claiming it was a violation of the court order, which it wasn't. It was all set up. This guy's a very bad actor. So, and he's also the chief judge of the district at the federal district court level in Washington, D.C., meaning he gets to pick and assign the cases, and he assigns all these cases to himself. All right, now let's go forward. Let's see what this guy actually did, according to Senator Ted Cruz, from information provided to the Judiciary Committee chaired by Senator Chuck Grassley. Let's go with this right now.
Over my cell phone records. Now, one might ask, ordinarily, a phone company being asked to hand over the phone records of a sitting senator would notify that senator. Well, there was a reason AT&T did not do so. Accompanying the subpoena was an order, which I have in my hand right here, an order that was signed by Judge James E. Boasberg. Now, who is Boasberg? Boasberg is that radical leftist judge who is out of control, who has been issuing nationwide injunctions, one after the other, trying to stop President Trump from carrying out his mandate from the voters. Judge Boasberg issued an order to AT&T and signed that order, prohibiting AT&T from informing me of this subpoena for at least 1 year. And Judge Boasberg gave the basis for that order, and I'm going to quote from the order Judge Boasberg signed. The court finds reasonable grounds to believe that such disclosure will result in destruction of or tampering with evidence, intimidation of potential witnesses, and serious jeopardy to the investigation. That's an order a judge signed. Now, I can tell you right now, there is precisely zero evidence to conclude that I am likely to destroy or tamper with evidence or to intimidate potential witnesses. Zero evidentiary basis for that. This order is an abuse of power. This order is a weaponized legal system. My assumption, we don't have the subpoenas that were issued for the other senators, but my assumption is Judge Boasberg printed these things out like the placemats at Denny's, one after the other. We don't know that for a fact, but I feel confident that he concluded it's likely that Lindsey Graham would destroy evidence, and Marsha Blackburn would destroy evidence, and Eric Schmidt would destroy evidence, and Chuck Grassley would destroy evidence. If a litigant makes a claim for which there is no factual basis, that litigant is subject to sanctions in federal court. And if a judge signs an order reaching a factual conclusion for which there is zero evidence whatsoever, that judge is abusing his power. I am right now calling on the House of Representatives to impeach Judge Boasberg. Judge Boasberg put his robe down, stood up and said, sign me up to be part of the partisan vendetta against 20% of the Republicans in the Senate. That is a dereliction of duty and a violation of the judicial oath. And I want to thank Chairman Grassley and Chairman Johnson for pursuing this tenaciously like a dog on a bone. We are going to get the answers of every person who signed off on this abuse of power, and mark my words, there will be accountability for these zealots who wanted to corrupt the Department of Justice and corrupt the judiciary in order to try to attack their enemies list. That is unconstitutional, it is immoral, and it is wrong.
All right, let's pause this right now. We'll come back. A little bit later to talk about Marsha Blackburn, which she's going to come up here a minute and talk about that. Look, I'm calling on all members of the House of Representatives from the state of Tennessee to file articles of impeachment against Judge James Boasberg. We're going to talk to Andy Ogles about it. We're going to talk to Tim Burchett about it and others. That needs to happen. It needs to happen very quickly. There's got to be this new standard, which I think meets constitutional standards. If you break the Constitution, if you break the law in an executive order as a federal district court judge, that's an impeachable offense. All right, let's go to Marsha Blackburn. She also was victimized by this weaponized Department of Justice, weaponized federal district court judge. Let's go. Here's Marsha.
I'm one of those senators that did have their records revealed. Verizon is my wireless carrier, and Verizon never challenged, never moved to quash. They complied with the subpoena that went forward on our records. Now, Ted talked about the speech and debate clause. This is also a violation of our First Amendment and Fourth Amendment rights. It is a violation of the separation of powers. It is a violation of the Stored Communications Act. I am looking forward to bringing Jack Smith before us. I am looking forward to bringing the wireless companies before us and finding out exactly what happened. No citizen of the United States should ever be subject to treatment like this. And as Senator Cornyn said, if they are doing this to us, what did they do to all the moms and dads that went to school board meetings? What did they do to the pro-lifers that stood on a sidewalk and held a sign? What did they do to people that were supporting President Donald Trump or people that were supporting Republican candidates?
Yeah, and this is an egregious abuse of power. She mentioned also, First Amendment violation, Fourth Amendment violations, speech and debate clause violations, separation of powers violations, and the Stored Communications Act of 1986, which was designed to protect the privacy of users' stored electronic communications and establishes rules for government access. All of these were violated by the Department of Justice under Biden and by federal district court judge James Boasberg, who should be impeached. Now, whether he'll be convicted, we'll see. Back with Tom Pappert. We got another court case we'll talk about after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
Ghazala Hashmi is masquerading as a moderate, but she's really a dangerous far-left radical. The facts? Crazy far-left groups bankroll Ghazala Hashmi's campaign, and Hashmi repeatedly voted for taxpayer-funded tuition and driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. She even co-sponsored legislation to lower the penalties for criminals who assault police officers and firefighters. Ghazala Hashmi, masquerading as a moderate, too radical for Virginia.
I'm John Reed, candidate for Lieutenant Governor, and I sponsored this ad.
You've seen the news about Radical Jay Jones, the Democrat who wanted his opponent assassinated.
Jay Jones hoped a Republican's children would die in their mother's arms.
Jay Jones said police needed to die to advance his political agenda.
That's why every law enforcement group called on Jay Jones to withdraw from the race for Attorney General.
But Jay Jones is still in the race.
The only way to stop Jay Jones is for you to vote.
You can vote early in person right now or on Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th.
Log on to votenowva.com to find out hours and locations of where you can cast your ballot today. Again, go to votenowva.com.
Vote early. Vote now. Vote before November 4th for our Attorney General, Jason Miyares.
This election is an easy choice. Jason Miyares is the people's protector.
And Jay Jones is too liberal and too damn soft on criminals.
Jay Jones is unacceptable for Virginia.
I'm Jason Miyares, candidate for Attorney General, and this ad was sponsored by Miyares for Virginia.
Is your pet ready for some possum fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul-off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
I flew 9 combat tours taking out terrorists.
Matt Van Epps, America First warrior.
When my Chinook took enemy fire, I kept her in the air, got our guys, and completed the mission.
Matt Van Epps, American hero.
Now I'm on a new mission to help Trump save America. I'm Matt Van Epps. I approve this message because I know what to do with terrorists. So these woke wannabes in Washington better take cover.
Matt Van Epps, the conservative warrior Trump needs.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress. This is Michael Patrick Leahy. Join Rutherford County Mayor Joe Carr, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Congressman Tim Burchett, and Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs and me at T-Bones and Politics 2025 on the evening of November 10th in Murfreesboro for a night of great food, good fellowship, and inspiring political speeches. Get your tickets now. They're going fast at tbonesandpolitics2025.com. This is a great annual event. This year, musical entertainment will be provided by the Tremolo Honey Band. If you haven't heard them before, they are absolutely fantastic. This special event is sponsored by Barrett Firearms, Old South SRM, Moody Excavating, Azure Flight Management, and SEC Engineers. So go right now to tbonesandpolitics2025.com and get your tickets for T-Bones and Politics. It's an evening of great food and fun on November 10th. I'll see you there. Paid for by Joe Pack, William Ronsley, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We are joined on our Zoom newsmaker line right now by our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network, who has been nominated, along with yours truly and Christina Botteri, for two National Journalism Center's Dow Prizes. That's for local journalism. One of them is for all of our reporting on Kilmar Abrego Garcia. The other is for all of our reporting on the Covenant Killer Manifesto story. Now, this story began back in March of 23. It's still going on. We are joined now by Tom Pappert. Welcome, Tom.
Good morning, Michael.
Well, it seems that apparently the stories that we report on go on and on and on, particularly those stories that are involved in any sort of litigation. So why don't you tell our audience what is scheduled to happen this afternoon in a courtroom here in Nashville, Tennessee?
Now, our regular readers, I'll back up, may know by now that the FBI and the Tennessee Star settled their lawsuit to release Hale's writings. About 800 of her writings, the pages, have been released by the FBI. That did not resolve the state lawsuit seeking to compel Metro Nashville and the Metro Nashville Police Department to release their copies of Hale's writings. And in fact, it was on July 4th of 2024 that the Tennessee Chancery Court Judge Aisha Miles ruled that not one page of Hale's writings should be released. That judge cited the copyright claims advanced by a group of Covenant parents, the Children's Covenant Trust or something along those lines, who claimed that the killer's family transferred Audrey Hale, the transgender killer of 6, transferred her intellectual property to this Children's Covenant Trust group. Now, that, of course, was appealed because it was, in my opinion, a frankly bizarre decision that had no basis in reality. I'm very glad that you and the other plaintiffs have appealed, Michael. That will now be before the Tennessee Court of Appeals today at 1 p.m. A panel of 3 judges will re-examine Miles' decision and determine whether or not this copyright claim will stand.
Yeah, and it's a ludicrous claim. And yet, the trial court judge bought it. You know, if this copyright claim were to be accepted by the Court of Appeals, then that would mean, in essence, there would never, ever be any public records that would be released by anybody, right? Because everybody would claim, oh, I've got a copyright on it, even though they haven't filed a copyright claim on it. And the other problem with this is copyright law is the exclusive purview of, wait for it, the federal district courts, not the state courts. So it's a very bizarre decision. And yet, you know, the attorneys for the Covenant parents are making this argument. Even weirder than this is the judge allowed this Covenant Parents Trust to be interveners in this case, even though really they don't have any interest in it. This is yours truly, Michael Patrick Leahy, the Tennessee Star, simply asking the court to enforce the Tennessee Public Records Act. There's no mention of copyright in the Tennessee Public Records Act, and Metro Nashville has been hiding not just the Covenant Killer Manifesto documents, but they've been also hiding any communications that went on between Metro Nashville Police Department and the FBI, and obviously. We were able to release that weird legacy token memo from the FBI, but there's a lot more, I think, and that's really kind of why this case is going on. Tom, there are other plaintiffs in the case. Tell us about who the other plaintiffs are.
Well, of course, one of the major ones, there's actually a few, but one of the major ones who will be in court tomorrow is represented by Judicial Watch.
You mean
Judicial
today,
Watch,
this afternoon?
Today, of course.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
This afternoon. Sorry. So much
That's
going
right.
on these days. But Judicial Watch is representing former retired Hamilton County Sheriff James Hammond, as well as the Tennessee Firearms Association. And it was with Judicial Watch that we were able to obtain that agreement with the FBI earlier this year that, again, has resulted in about 800 of the 2,000 pages being released so far. That, in my opinion, is a testament to FBI Director Kash Patel. But I really just want to return briefly, if I can, to the absurdity of where this case stands. Because for the majority of the time this case has been on the docket, they were saying, well, we can't release this because the Metro Nashville Police Department still has yet to finish its case. Well, they finally did. I think it was late last year. They came out, they said the killer was sane. They said that she was just obsessed with other serial killers. She was motivated by fame. But regardless, the case is now complete. It's finalized, and now they have this new way to hide from a full release, thanks to Judge Aisha Miles, where they've concocted this copyright dispute. So I think, if for nothing else than the future of litigation in the state of Tennessee, this absolutely must be overturned. It cannot stand.
Yeah, it absolutely cannot stand. It's interesting about this. The 3-judge panel. We don't know a lot about them. It's what Judge McClarty is one of them. I forget the other two, but they are the ones who will be making this decision. The arguments are limited to I think 15 minutes, and the oral arguments are limited to 15 minutes. I think it'll be briefly our side. An appellate attorney. Actually, all of the plaintiffs have agreed that an appellate attorney who works in the office of Gino Bolso will make the appellate case on our behalf, and then the alternative, I don't know which attorney, they've got so many, will make the argument. I think what they're going to argue to uphold the trial court's decision is a weird theory. Would you like to hear it?
Oh, I'm afraid to, but let's hear it.
Well, I think the theory is going to be, well, you've got to uphold the trial court decision, even though there's nothing in the Tennessee Public Records Act here that has been satisfied. The case it's not an open investigation. It's been closed since, April or so, right? And that's the last hook that they had for withholding it, except for this, ginned up copyright claim. But I think that the argument they're going to make is, if you release all these documents, some of the surviving kids are going to be more likely to commit suicide. Now, and they're going to be pointing to some kind of studies which make that claim. To me, it's exactly the opposite. That's a ridiculous claim. And how the judges would buy it is beyond me. But to me, Tom, and we've always said, our argument is release these documents so we understand what's going on in the mind of a potential killer, mass murderer like this, so that we can identify them in the future and stop it. Your thoughts on this, Tom Pappert?
Well, Michael, of course, my heart breaks for the families of the survivors, the friends of the survivors, and everybody who was there, friends and family of the victims as well. But we released the first tranche of Hale's writings. It was like 120 pages in September of 2024. Stephen Crowder had released 2 pages of the killer's writings a few months prior to that even. And since then, as I said earlier, you can read it all on TennesseeStar.com. There's about 800 pages total that have been released. So this argument that the release by a Tennessee state court is going to somehow create a bunch of new emotional distress while these other releases of the same exact material did not, I just don't think that holds water, Michael. And I think that it would actually it's a cynical sort of way to manipulate the emotions of Tennesseans and the Tennessee judges. That's my opinion.
Yeah, the other element is apparently they claim there's some sort of study that says there's a correlation between releasing these documents in other instances and suicide. I've not seen any of those studies. And there's a lot of other academic research that says exactly the opposite. But even the problem with those studies is the assumption that there's a causality between the releasing of any documents or manifestos and suicide. That is a huge, huge leap for which there is no evidentiary basis. Your thoughts on that, Tom Pappert?
Well, I agree completely. And by the way, just as an aside, the interest for these children's well-being does not seem to be at the fore in other parts of Middle Tennessee. I'm thinking, of course, of Lipscomb Academy, where Metro Nashville Police Department was called to supervise a protest by the faculty. And there's former Covenant students at this school. So this seems to be, frankly, an absurd line of reasoning that they're going down. And I hope the judges do not entertain it. I hope things get a little more serious at the appellate level.
We'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. I'm thinking of going down there, just sitting in the audience and watching it. I don't think it's going to be very long. I think it'll be less than an hour. But it will be interesting to see how the arguments are made and how the judges react and what their questions might be. Tom, stick around. Breaking story: Schoology, used by Metro Nashville and I guess 89 other major school districts. They're promoting LGBTQI History Month through curriculum. Does the state know about this? Does the Trump administration know about it? I don't think so. Back after this.
Is a record player the best way to listen to music? Of course not. So why are you still taking vitamins in pill form that haven't been upgraded since the 1930s? Even if you don't have trouble swallowing, most vitamins in pill form can't be absorbed very well. It's time to upgrade to the pill-free future of vitamins. Advanced nutrition company, Healthy Cell, created a patent-pending ingestible gel that is clinically proven to have 265% the absorption rate of tablets. These physician-formulated supplements come in a small gel pack. You tear off the top and shoot it down. You can also mix it in water. They taste great, they're convenient on the go, and they're more natural too, without chemical binders, fillers, and coatings. Go to HealthyCell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's HealthyCell.com. HealthyCell.com.
If you plan on voting for the Republicans in Virginia in November, vote early. That is the key to victory. Let's hear what Governor Youngkin has to say.
We have to get the vote out, and you have to vote early. Something could happen on Election Day, and you will miss it, and we can't afford to miss it. SecureYourVoteVirginia.com is ready to help you make a plan to vote early. Get out and vote. Every single vote counts. Go to SecureYourVoteVirginia.com and make a plan to vote early.
Early voting is underway. The time to vote is now. Paid for by Spirit of Virginia.
Ghazala Hashmi is masquerading as a moderate, but she's really a dangerous far-left radical. The facts? Crazy far-left groups bankroll Ghazala Hashmi's campaign, and Hashmi repeatedly voted for taxpayer-funded tuition and driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. She even co-sponsored legislation to lower the penalties for criminals who assault police officers and firefighters. Ghazala Hashmi, masquerading as a moderate, too radical for Virginia.
I'm John Reed, candidate for lieutenant governor, and I sponsored this ad.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Tom Pappert, our lead political reporter. Tom, you're breaking a story today about this Schoology operation. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Michael, it's interesting. It all came about earlier this week when the Tennessee Star received a tip that contained 4 images, and these images were obtained using the Schoology platform. This is what teachers all around the country for about 20 million students, 90 of the top 100 schools in the United States, this is what they use to chart attendance, to submit grades, all of the daily kind of grunt work of being an educator. And the tip we received explained that on the Schoology platform in the month of October, social studies teachers were encouraged or presented with, again, this curriculum that was for LGBTQIA History Month. That apparently is the month of October. There's actually an LGBT holiday or history month for about every month of the year, but this one goes back to 1995 when it was adopted by the National Education Association, the Teachers Union, which I find to be absolutely fascinating. So, Michael, the question then becomes, where did this material come from? Was it created or distributed by Schoology, or was it created by Metro Nashville Public Schools and then distributed by Schoology? There's also, of course, a myriad of questions when it comes to the content of this curriculum. We only have essentially 2 lessons. We have the Pulse nightclub shooting, which I guess is a major point of LGBT history. They notably leave out that the shooter pledged his loyalty to ISIS. And then we have the Lavender Scare, which is what LGBTQ activists call a period in the 1950s when they claim gay and lesbian people were targeted alongside communists by the big bad Republican Party. So there is obviously quite a bit more in this curriculum. What we've already seen is troubling, and through my eyes, it seems to violate not 1 but 2 of President Trump's executive orders. His executive order defending women from gender ideology extremism, and his executive order ending radical indoctrination of K-12 schooling. In addition to that, depending on the materials that are present and depending on if they were made available to elementary school teachers, it seems to me as though this could also violate the Tennessee state law, which mandates that all instructional material, such as textbooks or major points of instruction, come from approved sources. Now, again, for middle and high school students, there's some permissibility when it comes to outside materials being used without parental approval or knowledge. But this, if it is a significant part of the curriculum for the entire month of October, I wonder if they are not running afoul of this. We've reached out to Metro Public Schools. We've reached out to the Tennessee Department of Education and to Schoology. And Michael, as we like to say, when the phone did not ring, we knew who it was.
So, Tom, that tells me something very important. They don't want to talk about this, right? They don't want to talk about this. So now I think the next step is, now that we've identified this, we need to go to the next level. Because clearly, I think there's enough evidence here to suggest that the use of this curriculum in Schoology by Metro Nashville Public Schools and other schools around the country, but particularly here, Metro Nashville schools, may well violate Tennessee law, may well violate Donald Trump's executive orders, and I think now there's probably enough reason to not just only initiate an investigation, but possibly to begin litigation by the Department of Justice and possibly by the Attorney General of the state of Tennessee. Your thoughts on that, Tom Pappert?
Well, I will certainly be asking the Department of Education today. They also have the ability to investigate and pursue certain types of sanctions when they encounter this. In fact, federal funding, as I understand it, could be at stake here when it comes to Metro Nashville Public Schools using this curriculum potentially in violation of executive orders. And I think it will be very interesting. We will certainly have to ask the Department of Education whether or not they've received a complaint about this, because as I understand it, they can start their own investigative process, perhaps in response to the reporting we do at the Tennessee Star. But if a parent or educator within the school system were to have issued a complaint, I do wonder if that would not speed this up quite a bit. And again, if this is being taught potentially without any real clear oversight or instruction, just making it available and leaving it up to the teacher, this could be being taught in who knows how many classrooms, not just across Nashville, but across the country. There could be a lot of upset parents out there.
Yeah. And look, the public schools have been a complete disaster. They can't teach reading, writing, and arithmetic, but they can propagandize kids. This is yet another example of it. Look, I think, Tom, if we went and we interviewed, if we were to go and interview high school students in Metro Nashville and ask them, was this curriculum which violates the Trump administration executive order delivered to you? What do you think the odds are that they would say, oh, yeah? I think they'd be very high. Tom Pappert, thank you for yet another outstanding report.
Thank you, Michael. It's always a pleasure.
All right. We'll be back after the news. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Each of us is born with 30 trillion cells that make us. These cells determine how we feel, perform, sleep, focus, and how long we live. And to live our best life, all we have to do is feed our cells properly. But most supplements don't reach our cells, keeping us from reaching our full potential. Make every cell count with Healthy Cell. Founded with a mission to empower people to take control of their own health at the most fundamental level, the cell. Dr. Vincent Gempapa, world-renowned cell researcher and medical doctor, created supplements that work at the cellular level to support immune health, better sleep, sharper focus, and healthy aging. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com, HEALTHYCELL, and use code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Ghazala Hashmi is masquerading as a moderate, but she's really a dangerous far-left radical. The facts? Crazy far-left groups bankroll Ghazala Hashmi's campaign, and Hashmi repeatedly voted for taxpayer-funded tuition and driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. She even co-sponsored legislation to lower the penalties for criminals who assault police officers and firefighters. Ghazala Hashmi, masquerading as a moderate, too radical for Virginia.
I'm John Reed, candidate for lieutenant governor, and I sponsored this ad.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio Show.
This is WJFN, Goochland, Bonaire, Chester, and WJFV, Portsmouth.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Amazing. That's how President Trump describes his meeting in South Korea with Chinese President Xi Jinping.
On Air Force One afterwards, Trump said that the U.S. would reduce tariffs and China would end restrictions on rare earth exports. Unsurprisingly, Trump said he'd rate the meeting 12 out of 10, and he also gave some idea of future visits between the two leaders. Trump to China in April and Xi to the U.S. sometime after that.
Correspondent Tian McLeod-G says the meeting capped the president's week-long Asia trip. President Trump is directing the Pentagon to resume nuclear weapons testing after a 30-plus year hiatus. It was called Operation Arctic Frost. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley says it was a massive Biden Justice Department spy operation surveilling the activities of a host of conservative organizations and the Republican Party. Grassley calls Operation Arctic Frost the vehicle by which FBI agents and DOJ prosecutors could improperly investigate the entire Republican political apparatus. Hurricane Melissa did a real number, and it was a terrible number on the Caribbean.
Dennis Sulu, the UN resident coordinator in Jamaica, said,
"What we are seeing in preliminary assessments is a country that's been devastated to levels never seen before."
Catastrophic flooding occurred in Haiti, where dozens were dead or missing. Eastern Cuba had blown off roofs, downed power lines and crop damage. Hurricane conditions were forecast to continue in the Bahamas into the morning and were expected to affect Bermuda later on Thursday as the storm passes. I'm Karen Shamas.
With the arrests of 5 more people, a total of 7 are now being held in connection with the crown jewel heist at the Louvre in Paris. The gems have yet to be recovered. On Wall Street, the Dow is up 336 points, the Nasdaq 240 points in the red. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher, host of The Mike Gallagher Show. I don't mess around when it comes to saving you money. Right now, rates have dropped to the lowest level in over a year and a half. That means if you bought your home or refinanced in the last 3 years, you could be saving hundreds of dollars every month. Lower your rate, lower your monthly payment, even kick that pesky PMI to the curb. And get this, you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. But that's not all. Fellowship Home Loans just rolled out something incredible. Their very own HELOC and lines of credit. Approval in just 5 minutes. Money in your account in as little as 4 days. It's the easiest system you've ever used. You can do it yourself online. Whether you want to pay off bills, tackle a home project, cover education, or even a wedding, Fellowship Home Loans makes it simple to leverage the money that's already sitting in your house. Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending guided by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Ukraine has detained a British man accused of spying for Russia.
Ukraine's security services claimed the man had given Russian spies information about other international instructors and the location of training centers. They also said he was preparing to commit terrorist attacks by using an improvised explosive device and a pistol. The Briton was detained in Kiev and appeared in a court this week where he was detained without bail while a pre-trial investigation was conducted. Prosecutors said that if found guilty, the man could face up to 12 years in prison.
The BBC's James Landale. A massive police raid on a drug gang operating in low-income neighborhoods of Rio de Janeiro that left at least 119 people dead, throwing protests for excessive force and calls for the Rio de Janeiro governor to resign. Dozens of residents gathered in front of the state's government headquarters shouting assassins. They waved Brazilian flags. News and analysis, townhall.com. Jurors have convicted a California animal rights activist.
That's because she took 4 chickens from a major Purdue Farms poultry plant. Zoe Rosenberg was found guilty Wednesday of trespassing and conspiracy. She says she was rescuing the chickens, but prosecutors say she broke the law. The 23-year-old activist faces more than 5 years in prison. She was charged with 1 count of felony conspiracy, 1 count of trespassing to interfere with a business, 1 count of trespassing on land where an animal is held for human consumption, and 1 count of tampering with a vehicle. Keith Peters, Washington.
Starbucks halted a lengthy slide in sales in its fiscal fourth quarter as fall drinks and improved service brought customers back to its stores. The Seattle-based coffee giant says global same-store sales rose 1% over last year in the July through September period. First time in almost 2 years, company posted an increase in same-store sales. More on these stories at townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We're broadcasting from downtown Nashville. It is Thursday, October 30th, 2025. Well, I want to talk to you a little bit about the rally at the campus of Ole Miss late last night in Oxford, Mississippi. 10,000 people showed up. It was a Turning Point USA event. Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, spoke, as did Vice President J.D. Vance. Now, if you've never been to Oxford, Mississippi, this is something I want to talk about. Oxford, Mississippi is really a spectacular place. It is sort of classic Americana. It's in the north, I think it's kind of the northeastern section, north central section of Mississippi. It's not too far from Memphis, and I had never been there. Of course, the University of Mississippi has been famous. I think it was, back in the desegregation era, there was a big fight at both the University of Alabama and the University of Mississippi. The federal government stepped in and black students were allowed to attend. And so it was a big deal back then. Right around that time at the University of Mississippi, they have an outstanding football tradition. And they won the national championship, I think it was 60 or 61. Johnny Vaught was the coach back then. And they've been founding school in the Southeastern Conference, which is like the number one football conference in the world, right? As we all know. But what's interesting about this, to me, is that we found a situation here where I had never been to Oxford, Mississippi. Now, our friend Lee Habib lives down in Oxford. He would say, who's Lee Habib? He does the Great American Moment radio podcast, which is, very well received. And I went down to visit him 4 or 5 years ago. And it was during one of these weekends when there was a football game. It's a beautiful little town, Oxford, Mississippi. It's got a nice little square. It's kind of classic Americana. It also is was the home of the great writer William Faulkner, who wrote a number of novels. I think won the Nobel Prize for Literature, and so he's got his house there. You can visit his house. The campus is just stunningly beautiful. It's really just a great place. Now, the culture down there, let's just say, it's a place where people like to have fun. A lot of fraternities, a lot of sororities, and let me just say that if you're a young man and you're interested in having fun and having, let's say, a number of social opportunities with good-looking sorority girls, Ole Miss, it would be hard to beat Ole Miss. And of course, they have a resurgence of their football team these days with Lane Kiffin, and they're kind of in the run to be in the national championship this year. We'll see how that all plays out. I say that to just say it's just a great community, and so at this rally, and it's very kind of MAGA country, not all because it's a university. I want to play this. This is Erica Kirk. We're going to play this in this segment and in the next segment. Let's start off with Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, talking about her husband at the very beginning of the speech. Let's start off with this right now.
Ole Miss. Oh, man. Love you guys too. It's hard not to cry after watching that. I haven't seen that portion of him saying that video since that day happened. But Charlie, when he came onto campus, he loved to immerse himself in the culture of the campus that he was in. And so, from word on the street, you guys have a chant out there. I hear it's a good one. It's hotty toddy. I love it, but it's a tremendous honor and blessing to be on stage today, and this is what Turning Point USA is all about. This is what the future of our country is all about, and I want to thank you all also on a personal level for all of your prayers and all of your support, not only for our family, but for the Turning Point USA family, which includes all of you, especially those that are students, a part of the Turning Point USA chapter at Ole Miss. So I love you guys, truly. This whole, you guys have no idea how helpful it is to have all of you in my life, because you help me feel even more deeply connected to my husband. And I thank you for that. I thank all of you for that. and I say that also because you guys are the heartbeat of Turning Point USA. You're the heartbeat of this organization, and every time we were at an event, especially one that Charlie was speaking at, he would always ask beforehand, he would always ask Mikey or the team, he'd say, who in the audience is a Turning Point USA chapter leader or chapter member? And whenever there was a student there, he would stop everything before the event and he would sit down with them. He would ask you what your name is, what you're studying, what is the issues that are going on campus. He would take the time to make sure that you guys knew he was investing into you, into your chapter, into your school, because that was a pulse point for him. And being on campus right now for me is a spiritual reclaiming of territory. And let me explain that, because there is a lot of symbolism in today. It's Wednesday, 7 weeks. And the more that I am coming to grips with the permanency of this nightmare, the more that I'm starting to realize and witness that the enemy, he doesn't want you. He wants your territory. He wants your influence. And when our team asked my dear friend, Vice President J.D. Vance, to speak today, I really prayed on it, because obviously it's a very emotional day. But I could just hear Charlie in my heart. I could just hear him say, go reclaim that territory, babe. Go. The battle's already won. God's love conquers. And that's why I'm here today. I'm here because this moment, it can either be your breaking point or your wake-up call, essentially your turning point, if you will.
A turning point, yeah. Very emotional and very effective. And now, in our next segment, J.D. Vance followed her. Well, importantly, she said, no one will replace Charlie Kirk, but I see so much of Charlie in J.D. Vance. Back after this.
Let's be real. Losing weight isn't just about looking good. It's about taking back control of your overall health. 42% of adults in America are classified as obese, and obesity is directly linked to severe health issues. If you've tried diets and different workouts with no success, it's not your fault. Big Food and Big Pharma have rigged the system against you with contradicting information, leaving you confused. But there's good news. The Wellness Company just launched Drop, a GLP-1 peptide oral drop formula developed by their chief medical board, specifically designed to support your metabolism, curb cravings, and help you shed weight. That's right. No injections, no risk of the severe side effects we're seeing with the Ozempic. Start your weight loss journey today and get $100 off, plus free shipping. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and use promo code Godzilla100. That's twc.health/Godzilla. Promo code Godzilla100. Take action today for a healthier tomorrow.
You've seen the news about Radical Jay Jones, the Democrat who wanted his opponent assassinated.
Jay Jones hoped a Republican's children would die in their mother's arms.
Jay Jones said police needed to die to advance his political agenda.
That's why every law enforcement group called on Jay Jones to withdraw from the race for Attorney General.
But Jay Jones is still in the race.
The only way to stop Jay Jones is for you to vote.
You can vote early in person right now or on Election Day, Tuesday, November 4th.
Log on to votenowva.com to find out hours and locations of where you can cast your ballot today. Again, go to votenowva.com.
Vote early. Vote now. Vote before November 4th for our Attorney General Jason Miyares.
This election is an easy choice. Jason Miyares is the people's protector.
And Jay Jones is too liberal and too damn soft on criminals.
Jay Jones is unacceptable for Virginia.
I'm Jason Miyares, candidate for Attorney General, and this ad was sponsored by Miyares for Virginia.
For Virginia to grow and thrive, Governor Youngkin declared,
"We have to protect right to work."
Nearly 80% of Virginians agree. So does Winsome Earl Sears. But Abigail Spanberger thinks Virginians should have to pay union bosses just to get or keep their jobs. In fact, Spanberger voted twice in Congress to wipe out every state's right-to-work law nationwide. Demand she defend worker choice and support right to work. Call Abigail Spanberger, 804-223-0770. Paid for by the National Right to Work Committee.
Is your pet ready for some possum fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
This is State Senator Mark Pouty. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pouty.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pouty, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Now more than ever, President Trump needs battle-tested conservatives fighting alongside him to save our country. That's why Trump endorsed Matt Van Epps for Congress. West Point grad, 9 combat tours, decorated Army vet. Matt Van Epps has devoted his life to defending America and the conservative values we cherish. Endorsed by Trump, fearless conservative. Tennessee's Matt Van Epps for Congress. School Freedom Fund is responsible for the content of this ad.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Okay, so J.D. Vance was introduced by Erica Kirk at this rally, Turning Point USA rally, last night in Oxford, Mississippi. Ole Miss crowd, 10,000 people there. It was live on Fox News, and it was interesting. During his part of it, he had a little bit over an hour. He delivered he delivered a little talk, and then he had, I don't know, like 20 questions from kids, just like Charlie. And the questions were pretty good. One of the kids just like was, I think she was a foreign student, I think, from India, and she had some questions about immigration policy, and it was an interesting little back and forth. She kept asking questions, and listen to me, and at some point, it was interesting. Anyways, he handled it very well. So here we have this is his answer to one of the questions from one of the kids. And the question had to do with taking actions against far lefties, right? And let's just play his answer. Clip number 15.
So here's something that I want conservatives, I want every conservative to remember. It's an important part of my entire political philosophy is we cannot be afraid to do something because the left might do it in the future. The left is already going to do it regardless of whether we do it. That is the takeaway of the last 40 years.
You think?
And in particular, if you look at what we're doing, if Joe Biden wanted to deploy the national...
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, what's he doing on this? he's saying, some people say, oh, you shouldn't take the National Guard and put them into Memphis. That's ridiculous. There's legal justification for it to begin with. And so it's really a very, very strong argument made by J.D. Vance. Now, the other we want clip 18. We got clip 18 queued up here. Yeah, I got it. So clip 18, he's talking about immigration. Let's do this right now. And I think he's talking about the problems of immigration in Springfield. This was at an interview. I think Miranda Devine did this interview on campus in Oxford. I think it was just before the rally last night. I think. Here we go. Let's play this clip.
Why 60% of illegal alien households are benefiting from our welfare programs. That's how you bankrupt this country and destroy those programs for the people who actually need it.
And that's how they can afford to take slave labor wages.
Exactly.
Because they're subsidized. The taxpayers subsidizing.
This is such an important point, Miranda, and it's something people don't appreciate. And by the way, they're willing to accept a standard of living that most Americans won't accept and shouldn't have to accept. And this was, if you remember, the big controversy about all of the migrants who came into Haiti. 20,000 immigrants, Haitian migrants, in a town of 40,000 people. So you blink your eyes in Springfield, Ohio, and you wake up and literally a third of the population of your town is now Haitian immigrants.
And eating cats and dogs.
Now, Biden paroled those immigrants. And what did that mean? Those immigrants were now able, even if they didn't have kids, all of them were able to access housing benefits. So I would talk to constituents in Springfield, Ohio. This is when I was still a senator. This was before I was the vice presidential nominee. And here's the situation they would describe to me that happened in Springfield, Ohio. So you're a landlord and you're renting, let's say, a 3-bedroom house to a family of 4, family of 5. Okay. They're paying, let's say, $1,000 a month a couple of years ago in Springfield, Ohio to rent that house. Now, all of a sudden, 4 families of Haitian migrants come in, each of them getting $1,000 per family, and they're willing to put 20 people into a 3-bedroom house. So what does that do? That prices all of the American citizens out of those houses. Right. That drives up the rents for everybody, because now you have a 3-bedroom house that you can rent for $4,000 a month or $3,000 a month instead of $1,000 a month. That completely destroys the ability of Americans to live the American dream. And that's what those open borders did.
And creates division and hatred.
And of course it does, but how could it not create division? I mean, let's say you're living in a house and your neighbors move out. We can hear Atlas shaking outside. He must just come in from outside. But you have, let's say, a family of 5 that you've known for 5 years, 10 years, moves out of a house, is actually evicted from the house because there are people who are going to pay more for rent. And then what happens is 20 people move into a 3-bedroom house, 20 people from a totally different culture, totally different ways of interacting. Again, we can respect their dignity while also being angry at the Biden administration for letting that situation happen and recognizing that their next door neighbors are going to say, well, wait a second, what is going on here? I don't know these people. They don't speak the same language that I do. And because there are 20 in the house next door, it's a little bit rowdier than it was when there was just a family of 4, a family of 5. It is totally reasonable and acceptable for American citizens to look at their next door neighbors and say, I want to live next to people who I have something in common with. I don't want to live next to 4 families of strangers. And the fact that we had an immigration system that actually promoted that division is a real disgrace.
Yeah, no kidding. It's a big disgrace. Let's go now to Leonard from Georgia, wants to weigh in on this, talk about Charlie Kirk. Good morning, Leonard.
Good morning, Patrick. Here's what I wanted to say about Charlie Kirk. You are carrying his tradition. Bannon carries his tradition. Your voice of clarity carries the tradition. So Charlie Kirk's no longer here with us, but you are, so is Bannon, so is John Fredericks, and I myself carry the tradition. So everywhere I go, I try to speak out clearly and make sure that we make our point. And I wish you'd debate these liberals on the radio, because I like to hear your response. You're pretty sharp myself, my friend.
Well, let me say a couple things about that, Leonard. Thank you for your call, by the way. Leonard from Georgia, one of our favorite callers. Leonard, what I thought was interesting, and I'd like to get your reaction to this. from the rally last night, which was broadcast on Fox News and was quite compelling, I thought. It was interesting because if you look at the kids there, you know, these are kids probably 18 to 24, 25 years of age, Gen Z. And they sent a challenge to this generation. You are the courageous generation, said Erica Kirk. And I thought it was, it's interesting and encouraging to those of us who are a little bit older, like yours truly, and you, and Stephen K. Bannon, and John Fredericks. We're all about the same age. And what's interesting about that, Leonard, is for a long time, we have had concerns about whether the torch of liberty would be passed to the next generation. In looking at the reaction of those kids, do you have a sense that the torch of liberty may well be passed to these Gen Z 18 to 24-year-old kids who are part of Turning Point USA?
I sure do, Michael. I work with a lot of young people, and it's amazing, you know, because they don't know my politics. You know, we're just working together. And every time I hear one of them speak, it surprises me how conservative they are. I'm talking 18-year-olds, 21-year-olds, you know, 19-year-old kids, and their status. You know, you would think they don't know anything about, you know, current events, but they do, and they stay in touch. I guess, you know, YouTube and, you know, podcasts that they listen to are 90% of the time, when I realize what they're listening to is conservative talk radio or conservative podcast. So I'm encouraged, you know, and I don't despair on that behalf. And then one real quick point, you were talking about illegal immigrants and just bringing people at random into our country. The Haitian community that hit South Florida, man, loving people, hard to deal with people, and they just don't adjust. Good people, and I love them. But Michael, you know, you just got to be able to adapt.
So here's the thing. This is the problem that we have in our country right now. One of them. There are too many foreign-born residents who have not assimilated. You are foreign-born, Leonard. You have assimilated, and your kids have assimilated. But if you look at, for instance, the kind of people who are supporting Zoran Mamdani, the kind of people who are supporting Ilhan Omar, among the foreign-born in America, 60% plus support anti-Americans like Zoran Mamdani because they're not assimilated. Leonard, thank you so much for your call. Have a great day. Appreciate hearing from you.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. When we come back, Tom Zalestowski with the We the People Convention is going to give us his reaction to the Arctic frost violation of the rights of many Republicans by the weaponized Biden administration and judiciary.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
Is your fur baby looking a bit rough? Transform them from shaggy to snazzy with Be Fur and After Pet Grooming in Marietta, Georgia. Their top-notch groomers pamper your pups with baths, custom cuts, and nail trims that'll have them strutting like show dogs. From mobile grooming vans to their cozy salon, they'll make your pet spa day a tail-wagging blast. Book now at BeFurAndAfterGrooming.com. Be Fur and After, where pets go from grr to glamorous.
Why is Purple Wave Auction the fastest growing heavy equipment marketplace? Our full-service online auctions take the hassle out of buying and selling farm, construction, and fleet equipment. Thousands of business owners partner with Purple Wave each month to manage their equipment. Sellers count on our experienced professionals to handle the marketing, paperwork, and payments. And bidders trust in a marketplace free of reserves and hidden fees. Purple Wave is the turnkey online auction service you've been looking for. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
How much did you win at Rosie's Gaming Emporium?
Hi, I'm Jerry from Richmond. I won a $23,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
I'm Tammy. I'm from Newport News, and I just won a $5,400 jackpot from Rosie's.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm from West Virginia, and I won $99,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
Are you ready? Learn more about Rosie's rewards and jackpots at rosiesgaming.com. Must be 18 or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-888-532-3500.
Ghazala Hashmi is masquerading as a moderate, but she's really a dangerous far-left radical. The facts? Crazy far-left groups bankroll Ghazala Hashmi's campaign, and Hashmi repeatedly voted for taxpayer-funded tuition and driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. She even co-sponsored legislation to lower the penalties for criminals who assault police officers and firefighters. Ghazala Hashmi, masquerading as a moderate, too radical for Virginia.
I'm John Reed, candidate for lieutenant governor, and I sponsored this ad.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges. And D.T. McCall & Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
I flew 9 combat tours taking out terrorists.
Matt Van Epps, America First warrior.
When my Chinook took enemy fire, I kept her in the air, got our guys, and completed the mission.
Matt Van Epps, American hero.
Now I'm on a new mission to help Trump save America. I'm Matt Van Epps. I approve this message because I know what to do with terrorists. So these woke wannabes in Washington better take cover.
Matt Van Epps, the conservative warrior Trump needs.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress. This is Michael Patrick Leahy. Join Rutherford County Mayor Joe Carr, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Congressman Tim Burchett, and Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs and me at T-Bones and Politics 2025 on the evening of November 10th in Murfreesboro for a night of great food, good fellowship, and inspiring political speeches. Get your tickets now. They're going fast at tbonesandpolitics2025.com. This is a great annual event. This year, musical entertainment will be provided by the Tremolo Honey Band. If you haven't heard them before, they are absolutely fantastic. This special event is sponsored by Barrett Firearms, Old South SRM, Moody Excavating, Azure Flight Management, and SEC Engineers. So go right now to tbonesandpolitics2025.com and get your tickets for T-Bones and Politics. It's an evening of great food and fun on November 10th. I'll see you there. Paid for by Joe Pack, William Ronsley, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
We are joined on our Newsmaker line right now by our very good friend for many years, a Tea Party leader from 2009 on, the founder of the We the People Convention of Ohio, our good friend Tom Zalestowski. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Michael.
So, Tom, you know, it's interesting. You and I have lived, a number of years. We've seen a number of things. And sometimes historical events hit you right in the face, such as the attacks on the World Trade Center, which killed 3,000 plus people in 9/11. And sometimes very, very significant historic events appear as, well, there's the news of the day. Here it is. I think we heard yesterday in this stunning press conference held in the Capitol, Chuck Grassley, the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and I think 8 other senators whose phone records had been illegally obtained by a weaponized Department of Justice, a weaponized FBI, and a weaponized federal judiciary. I think that press conference was one such event. And let me put it in context for you. Tom, in the history of the United States, there have been 15 federal judges who have been impeached. Of those, 8 have been convicted. 7 got off. Those who have been convicted were actually had committed crimes and been convicted of crimes. In this case, Senator Ted Cruz has brought evidence yesterday that a federal district court judge in Washington, D.C., the far-left radical judge, who's also the chief judge of that district, James Boasberg, committed a violation of the Constitution, First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, the speech and debate clause of the Constitution, and also several statutes when he signed off on subpoenas of, I think it was like up to 11 sitting U.S. senators, all Republicans, and told the telecommunication companies that had received those subpoenas that they were prohibited by court order from telling the senators that their phone records had been subpoenaed. Now, Ted Cruz said yesterday afternoon he was calling on the House of Representatives to impeach James Boasberg. To me, I think that kind of judicial action rises to the level where it meets the constitutional standard for impeachment. Your thoughts on this, Tom Zalestowski?
Well, I agree with your feelings that this is historic. And for you and I, Michael, we've known this. We've lived this, starting with Barack Obama when he targeted the Tea Party and they were looking at our IRS records and they were listening to us and things. What's so important, and our friend at Conservative Treehouse said, well, now that senators were the ones targeted, suddenly they're interested in impeachment. This should have happened a long, long time ago. This has been happening for 20 years. And I think impeaching Boasberg is just the start. I mean, start there and keep going, because the whole Washington, D.C. Circuit Court, Michael, you know this, Obama and Harry Reid basically conspired to load the Washington, D.C. federal court with partisan radical Marxists who hate America and the Constitution. And they're the ones who prosecuted the January 6th people. They're the ones who went after Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, Navarro, and this Jack Smith guy is a traitor. And I want him to suffer all the penalties. He participated in the weaponization of he didn't participate, he led the weaponization of our federal government, not just against those 7 senators, but what is it now, Michael? 400 some conservative leaders and organizations? That's how nuts this is.
Tom, yesterday here in studio, Sean Davis, the CEO and founder of The Federalist, was our guest. Mm-hmm. And he told us something fascinating. He said that that congressional action in the U.S. House of Representatives and the Senate is constrained by the behavior of bedwetters.
Bedwetters?
Yeah.
What did he mean by that?
He meant Republicans who don't have political courage. Uh-huh. That's what he meant. And so it seems to me that if you look at this, the way impeachment works, as you know, according to the Constitution, a a cabinet officer, of president, vice president, or of any federal judge, federal district court judge, appeals court judge, or Supreme Court judge, can be impeached for high crimes and misdemeanors. And the impeachment process requires a majority vote in the House of Representatives, and then conviction requires a 2/3 vote in the Senate. Now, it seems to me that our most recent instance of an impeachment happened when our own Mark Green led the Homeland Security Committee and got Alejandro Mayorkas impeached. That was sent to the U.S. Senate, and Chuck Schumer did nothing with it because he was then in the majority. But now we have a majority leader in the Senate. We have majority control of the House. It seems to me that we should begin impeachment proceedings against Boasberg as the worst example of, in essence, violation of the Constitution when he signed these subpoenas to tell the telecom companies to violate the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment rights of these senators, including Marsha Blackburn and Ted Cruz, violate the Stored Communications Act, violate the speech and debate clause of the Constitution. Those subpoenas, the signing of those subpoenas, I think were illegal and unconstitutional. And that would constitute a new standard of impeachment, high crime and misdemeanor. The bedwetters in Congress, however, might say, well, we'll impeach him, but the Senate won't convict him. I don't think that's the way to look at it at all. I think impeach him, send it over to the Senate, hold a trial. And even if the trial ends up with, a party line vote, the process is the punishment to some degree. And it will highlight the abusive behavior of this Judge Boasberg. This is only one example of it. So my question to you, Tom, I mean, you and I could make a list of the bedwetter Republicans in Congress.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So my question to you is, and we have an inquiry out here to Andy Ogles, who represents the 5th District in Tennessee, and Tim Burchett, the 2nd, who are brave and courageous. I think they might prepare articles of impeachment. Who do you know in Ohio who would have enough courage as a Republican to co-sponsor articles of impeachment of James Boasberg?
Well, I think if you listen to Jim Jordan's comments, when this broke, I think he would. I think Warren Davidson certainly would in Ohio. And I'll tell you another thing, Michael, the bedwetters, our problem with the bedwetters is we had no way to basically force them to have some courage. But as you're seeing with the hold that we're having against this shutdown, it's because of President Trump. And if President Trump says to the bedwetters, we want this guy impeached, I think he will be impeached. And I think you're right. The process is the punishment. But the second thing that goes on here is moving into the 2026 election, when you have that much evidence, and you listed some of it, but there's even more as far as the FISA courts and the January 6th things and letting Ray Epps off and all those things. I think that is just a great political tool for 2026 because it'll be so blatantly obvious that he committed crimes that if the Senate doesn't, convict, it'll be on them. It'll help us win more Senate seats.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. I think it's a win-win-win for us, and he's just a start. I think there has to be a whole bunch of other judges impeached as well. And if you get one, Michael, boy, watch how they all fall in line.
So
watch what happens if you get one.
Yeah, here's the thing about Boasberg. His order to AT&T, the telecom provider for Ted Cruz, not to tell Ted Cruz about this for 1 year is an egregious violation of the Constitution. There's no question about it. And I think that is cause for his impeachment. And we'll have more on this when we get back. Tom Zalewski, what are the next steps that should be taken on the pushback? And what's going to happen in the Senate if the bedwetters grow a spine, and impeach James Boasberg. Back after this.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are a $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
Why is Purple Wave Auction the fastest growing heavy equipment marketplace? Our full service online auctions take the hassle out of buying and selling farm, construction, and fleet equipment. Thousands of business owners partner with Purple Wave each month to manage their equipment. Sellers count on our experienced professionals to handle the marketing, paperwork, and payments. And bidders trust in a marketplace free of reserves and hidden fees. Purple Wave is the turnkey online auction service you've been looking for. Purple Wave Auction. Straight, simple, sold.
Ghazala Hashmi is masquerading as a moderate, but she's really a dangerous far-left radical. The facts? Crazy far-left groups bankroll Ghazala Hashmi's campaign, and Hashmi repeatedly voted for taxpayer-funded tuition and driver's licenses for illegal immigrants. She even co-sponsored legislation to lower the penalties for criminals who assault police officers and firefighters. Ghazala Hashmi, masquerading as a moderate, too radical for Virginia.
I'm John Reed, candidate for Lieutenant Governor, and I sponsored this ad.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, Executive Director of the American Constitutional Rights Union Action Fund, and this is a Live Free Minute. Just this month, an illegal immigrant in Virginia was convicted of raping an 11-year-old girl after breaking into her home. On any given day, there are hundreds of illegal immigrants in Virginia jails who have committed violent crimes. Yet there are politicians who openly advocate for protecting these criminal illegal immigrants and who wish to make Virginia a sanctuary for them. Our constitutional republic is dependent on adherence to the rule of law. Our founders could not have imagined that there would be politicians who would be so bold as to campaign against it. I encourage you to vote this election to protect public safety and the rule of law. This Live Free Minute is sponsored by the American Constitutional Rights Union Action Fund. We empower Americans to live free. And for more information, go to acruaction.com.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Our guest, Tom Zalestowski with the We the People Convention in Ohio. Tom, let's walk through the politics of this proposed impeachment of the out-of-control left-wing radical judge, James Boasberg. You know, this was not his only violation of basically the Constitution. He's done any number of things. In March, for instance, he spoke to a conference of federal district court judges and said, we must resist Trump. And then, later that month, he kind of created and concocted a way to challenge the Trump administration by taking over the Tren de Aragua deportation challenge. The Tren de Aragua, 200 criminals deported. They were deported out of Texas. The lefties filed a lawsuit in the District of Columbia. He assigned the case to himself as the chief judge. He knew the venue was wrong because it happened in Texas. But then he orchestrated this last-minute weekend hearing where he gave a verbal order not to send the planes out when the planes had already gone. And then he went and said, well, the Trump administration is violating a court order. It was all bogus stuff. But so he's well deserving of this, Tom, it seems to me. But let's play through the politics as you talked about. I think if the Speaker and the President say, yeah, this guy should be impeached, I think the House will impeach him. Thomas Massie, of course, will vote against it because he votes against everything. But they'll impeach him by 2 or 3 votes, right? Then it'll go to the Senate. I think soon John Thune will hold a trial. And that trial, there will be drawn out. And all of the things that I just told you about James Boasberg, the prosecution will present that information. I think it will be, and this thing will be broadcast live. And the highlights of it will be presented to the American people. I think you're right. The final trial vote will be probably 54 to 46. In other words, impeachment is, all the Republicans would go for impeachment. Fetterman probably would go for impeachment. But then all the Democrats would oppose it, and he would be not convicted. But the heat on the guy would be so much, I think he might be tempted even to resign. Your thoughts on this, Tom Zawistowski?
Well, I think you just described why this has to happen, because we've got to go through this process to expose the fact that our judicial system is crap. The bottom line is that, for decades, the lefties have taken over our law schools. They've destroyed, they don't even teach the Constitution in some law schools. People may not know that, but that's a fact. And you get people like Ketanji Brown in the Supreme Court. She's not qualified to be a lawyer, let alone a Supreme Court justice. And so I think by putting that on trial, and again, you saw Ted Cruz's statement.
Yeah.
Guess who would be one of the people prosecuting the trial against Boasberg in the Senate? It'd be Ted Cruz. You think he's going to stand up very well against Ted Cruz, who's argued before the Supreme Court on many times? So I think the other problem the Democrats have is if you're a Democrat in the Senate and the 2026 election is coming up, you could lose based on this if you support this kind of corruption. So I'm all for it. President Trump's going to see that. His policy team, Steve Bannon will be calling the president saying, you got to go with this one because this is going to be a big plus for us. And I think we're going to see it. And I think whether he resigns or not, the last institution that Trump needs to fix is the judicial system, Michael. He's gotten the media. He's crushed them with fake news. He's cleaning up the colleges. He's going after sports. He's cleaned up the military. The one last thing we need to clean up to restore America to greatness is our corrupt to the core judicial system. And they just gave us the best opportunity you're ever going to get to do that.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I might have a little different approach on it. I might say call our judicial system troubled. I would use that word.
You're too kind.
I am kind. But remember, I am doing the night law school thing, right? So I have a certain insight into it. But I will tell you this, the core of the trouble, and you get right at it in your discussion, it's at the federal district court judge level, where Obama and Joe Biden have appointed have gotten confirmed leftist activists, almost attorneys representing illegal immigrants, attorneys representing criminals, attorneys advancing the weaponization of government. That's the core problem, it seems to me. And the steps to take it is identify the worst of the worst at the federal district court judge level and impeach them and publicize that. I think that's a very, very good way to go. I would say, go ahead.
Let me ask you one question, an important legal question. So we've been having these district judges stopping the Trump agenda. There was some talk in the House that when they approve judges, they only do it by a simple majority because of the Harry Reid rule. And there was some talk that because of bad behavior, which is part of what they they're considered on, that we could start to impeach judges with a simple majority. I think that's constitutionally legal. I think we should be working on
there are
those
methods of
because
removal.
It's too hard now to do it.
Yeah, there are methods of removal that would require the 2/3 in the Senate report for impeachment, but they are problematic. Tom Zalestowski, thanks for joining us today. Outstanding analysis.
Fight. Thank you, Michael.
All right. Aaron Gulberson joins us.
From New York City to the world, it's Dominic Carter.
Let's keep it real. My white colleagues could never discuss this issue because they would be branded racist immediately. Welfare was one of the worst things that ever happened to black people.
Dominic Carter, weeknights on the John Fredericks Media Network.
I'm bold enough to do it, and I'm African American, and it's coming from a position of love.
Hit johnfredericksradio.com for showtimes in your city.
It really angers me to hear these lies.
Lies? It was Abigail Spanberger who voted to let boys share locker rooms with little girls. It was Spanberger who voted to let children change genders without telling their parents.
It really angers me to hear these lies.
The truth? Abigail Spanberger will transform Virginia. She's angry because she's lying. As governor, Winsome Earl Sears will always put parents first, and she'll never bend to the transgender hysteria being whipped up by Spanberger and her woke Washington posse. Abigail Spanberger is angry because Virginians are tired of having the trans agenda ruining kids' lives, and they're pushing back. They know Winsome will always lead with common sense and actually protect our children. Spanberger is angry because she knows that too. Early voting begins September 19th, so get out and vote for Winsome Earl Sears for governor.
I'm Winsome Earl Sears, candidate for governor, and I sponsored this ad.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m.
WENO Nashville, KQPN West Memphis, AM 760, AM 730. The Flame.
Breaking news this hour at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. The Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, is opposing an attempt by Senate Democrats to reopen the government bit by bit.
This bill is a cynical attempt to provide political cover for Democrats to allow them to carry on their government shutdown even longer. And we're not going to let them pick winners and losers. It's time to fund everybody.
The shutdown now into day 29, no sign of a compromise. Correspondent Karen Chamis has more with people outside of the Louvre, catching up on the latest in the investigation on that major theft.
5 more people have been arrested in the investigation into the theft of crown jewels from the Louvre Museum. One is suspected of being part of the 4-person team that robbed the Louvre's Apollo Gallery in broad daylight on the 19th of October, according to the prosecutor. 2 other members of the team were arrested on Sunday and given preliminary charges of criminal conspiracy and theft committed by an organised gang. Both partially admitted their involvement, according to the prosecutor. It took the thieves less than 8 minutes to steal the jewels, valued at $102 million, shocking the world. I'm Karen Chamas.
A federal appeals court has struck down a lower judge's attempt to bridle the work of Border Patrol agents in Chicago.
On Tuesday, U.S. District Judge Sarah Ellis ordered U.S. Customs and Border Patrol Chief Patrol Agent Gregory Bavino to give her daily briefings on immigration operations being conducted in Chicago, an unprecedented bid to impose real-time oversight on the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. But before Bavino's first meeting with Ellis Wednesday, the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals stepped in and blocked her order. The Department of Homeland Security called Ellis's order judicial overreach. The sweeps have resulted in more than 1,800 arrests. I'm Ben Thomas.
More of these stories at townhall.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-583-0141. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-583-0141. That's 800-583-0141. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Here's Rich Thomason with a midday Wall Street Business Report.
Europe's economy has grown by a modest 0.2% in the third quarter, according to official figures released today. Growth in the 20 euro countries has been dampened by higher U.S. tariffs and weak performances from Germany and Italy. President Trump says his meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping was amazing and resolved many issues. Xi notes that negotiating teams from both countries reached a consensus and that teams should complete follow-up work as soon as possible to deliver tangible results. Stellantis, the maker of Jeep, Fiat, and Peugeot vehicles, reports a 13% increase in its third quarter net revenues. Starbucks halted a long sales slide in its fiscal fourth quarter as fall drinks and better service brought customers back to its stores. I'm Rich Thomason.
Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. Jurors have convicted a California animal rights activist.
That's because she took 4 chickens from a major Purdue Farms poultry plant. Zoe Rosenberg was found guilty Wednesday of trespassing and conspiracy. She says she was rescuing the chickens, but prosecutors say she broke the law. The 23-year-old activist faces more than 5 years in prison. She was charged with 1 count of felony conspiracy, 1 count of trespassing to interfere with a business, 1 count of trespassing on land where an animal is held for human consumption, and 1 count of tampering with a vehicle. Keith Peters, Washington.
Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent says China has agreed to purchase 25 million metric tons of U.S. soybeans each year. That's part of an agreement reached by its leaders. With President Trump, he said that China will start by purchasing 12 million metric tons of soybeans from the U.S. between now and January 1st. You'll find more on these stories at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Bob.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, the one, the only, the official guest host of the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, the founder and CEO of the Tennessee Conservative Coalition, Aaron Gulbertson. Good morning, Aaron.
How are you on this lovely, rainy... this is the week of the annoying weather.
It's a rainy,
in Tennessee.
Rainy day here in the Nashville area. And folks, we have a treat coming up. We are about 14 minutes away from the full Aaron Gulbertson treatment. Aaron Gulbertson Unleashed. And I'll just give you the heads up. There is a hotly contested contest for mayor of Williamson County here in Tennessee. And, because Aaron comes in and he's always has, a strong point of view. Sometimes we politely request that he moderate himself. Politely. But, folks, in our next segment, you are going to get the full Aaron Gulbertson. So it's Aaron Gulbinson unleashed. Can the world stand it?
I think some people should be afraid at the moment.
Okay, so now that he's got the green light to be unleashed,
Michael's going to regret this, by the way.
I'm not gonna.
It's no.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun because your analysis, is outstanding, and we want to hear it. So let's go now to what's going on in Washington, D.C. I was talking with Tom Zawistowski in the previous section about this, and I think this is a fundamentally significant story that could well change the outcome of the 2026 election for midterms. Mm-hmm. And Senator Chuck, do you have your headphones there? Yeah, you've got your.
Yeah, I got it.
You're plugged in.
I can listen to
Senator Chuck Grassley. How old is he? 91. Still doing the full Grassley. Look,
I mean, he's more with it mentally than one of the candidates running for mayor. So to preview the Actually, it is funny. Donald Trump, President Trump talked about this a while ago, and there are people that have no business being in public life anymore because of age, but also there are people like Chuck Grassley, where, frankly, if he were to retire, this is just the nature of life. He'd probably be dead in a week. So that's why he's
91.
Yeah.
But he is sharp as a tack.
Yeah, he is.
And don't mess with Chuck Grassley.
No.
The senator from Iowa, the term the full Grassley was named after him because every year he visits each one of the 99 counties of the state of Iowa. So now a lot of people are copying him. Here in Tennessee, we have 95 counties, and now a lot of the statewide office holders visit all 95. I know Senator Blackburn does that every year. But this story, I want to play this for you. This is a game changer of great significance. It means to me that the Arctic frost scandal of the abuse of power by the Department of Justice under Joe Biden and by the federal judiciary is far, far worse than the Watergate issue that disrupted the country 1972, 73, 74, and which we did an hour and a half documentary on. So here we go. Here's Chuck Grassley. Listen up.
I've recently been informed by Verizon that at least 11 members with Verizon accounts were affected. That includes a hard line for Senator Cruz's office and a staffer's cell phone for former Senator Loeffler. AT&T informed me they challenged the legal basis for Jack Smith's efforts, and Smith backed down.
Okay, so the story here is on the subpoenas. The crooked Department of Justice, in violation of the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, the Stored Communications Act, and the Speech and Debate Clause of the Constitution, sought a subpoena for the phone records of Senate members, which include, by the way, and they sent them to Verizon and AT&T. AT&T said, no, this violates the Speech and Debate Clause. We're not giving them to you. But Verizon, which controlled, I think, 8 senators, was a provider of eight senators, and the hard line in Senator Cruz's office, they said, they didn't even resist it.
Right.
The judge who signed the subpoena, knowing that it was a violation of the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, the Speech and Debate Clause, and the Stored Communications Act, was, wait for it, the far leftist District of Columbia Court Judge James Boasberg.
Certainly redefines the phrase, "Can you hear me now?"
That's quite good.
I think the moral of the story is if you're a Republican elected official, you need to find a new cell phone provider at minimum. I did see the other day, right, that Senator Blackburn called for the disbarring of Jack Smith, probably one of many. But, right, I think that, I don't know, it's an entire mess. Unfortunately, just this is another example of, I don't know, I was going to say big tech, but cell phone companies are not really just, basically corporate America cooperating with spying on Republicans.
Yes. Now, in that press conference, I'll tell you what happened right after that. Ted Cruz, during the press conference, called for the House to impeach Judge Boasberg. And I am fully supportive of that.
Yep.
And I think, we had Sean Davis sitting in the same seat you are yesterday. He said, the problem in Congress is we have some bedwetters who kind of don't know which way to go. I think if we can get the bedwetters to grow a spine, that they should impeach him. I know you like that phrase, don't you?
Please pass along my compliments to Sean for a colorful usage of a term. That's very good.
Yeah, exactly. Now, so I think this is a turning point because I think if the House, which they should impeach him, then they'll go to the Senate trial.
Yeah.
And the Senate trial, I mean, you need 2/3 of the vote. Not a single Democrat will vote to impeach him.
Right.
Doesn't matter. Can you imagine the impact of that trial in the Senate on the public view of Democrats?
The public would dislike the Democrats way more than. Listen, the Democrats are like they're like a disease. They're like germs, right? Sunshine is the best disinfectant. And if you truly reveal all these things that they pull, the public would absolutely despise it. And the mask is already off in a lot of different ways, as we've seen over the last several years with all of the targeting of Republicans. And by the way, the Democrat response when Republicans fight back to accuse them of the same thing is pretty weak in my view. I think we need to have a public trial.
Yeah, we need a public trial.
Yeah.
And this will be, if you look at it, the 2026 midterm elections are going to be raw power play, right?
Yep.
You've got all this redistricting going on. Look, the shutdown right now, it's a game. It's gaming for the 2026 midterms. No question about it. Most of the polls are showing it's not helping the Democrats. Most of the and just recently the federal government employees said, "Okay, Democrats, knock it off." That's not helping them either.
Yep.
But the Democrats seem to think that it's the hand they have to play, and they're going to play it.
Yeah.
We'll see how that plays out. Okay, I promise you this. I promise you, Aaron Gulbinson unleashed.
Let the weeping and gnashing of teeth begin.
And so he's going to give us his brutal assessment of, some people might think it's brutal, or brilliant, brutally brilliant assessment of the candidates in the Williamson County mayor's race here. And we have a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be very contested. Back with Aaron Gulbinson after this.
Hi folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just 1 scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Now more than ever, President Trump needs battle-tested conservatives fighting alongside him to save our country. That's why Trump endorsed Matt Van Epps for Congress. West Point grad, 9 combat tours, decorated Army vet. Matt Van Epps has devoted his life to defending America and the conservative values we cherish. Endorsed by Trump, fearless conservative, Tennessee's Matt Van Epps for Congress. School Freedom Fund is responsible for the content of this ad.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Well, I've warned everybody, hide the children. It is, I've given...
Whoa. We don't need to say hide the children. We do abide by certain regulations on the radio. And, I'm not Joe Biden. There is a candidate in the Williamson County mayor's race that resembles Joe Biden, but we'll talk about that in a second.
Let's start out this. First, tell our listeners why Williamson County, of the 95 counties in the state of Tennessee, is probably the most important non-urban county in the state.
It always has an outsized influence on state politics. It is the home of the next governor of the great state of Tennessee, sitting U.S. Senator Marsha Blackburn. It is the home of the Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson. It is the home. It's the richest county in the state, by the way.
The home of the governor
and the home of the governor, Bill Leahy. I mean, and you've got a variety of well-known state and accomplished state legislators and that sort of thing. So in May there will be every 4 years there's a mayor's election. There's a bunch of other
and just to work out at the county level. Now, the population of Williamson County is approaching 250,000.
Something like that.
It's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's very affluent.
Yep.
And it's just south of Nashville.
Yeah.
And it's very beautiful. I mean, it's just a spectacular place to live.
Yeah.
And I'm a resident of Williamson County.
It's a great county. I do the vast majority of the time I spend working is in Williamson County. And to be very upfront here, I have no involvement in this mayor's race remotely, other than I'm about to give you my unvarnished political analysis the same as I would on a private phone call.
The county mayor is a very important job. It's basically the executive authority in the county, and it's a 4-year term.
Yep.
To give an example, the county mayor of Knox County, the former one was Tim Burchett, who went on to Congress, and now it's Glenn Jacobs,
probably the most famous Republican mayor in the country. He was just on Gutfeld the other.
I saw him. He was good. He was wearing a tie. I very impressive. He wears ties.
He doesn't wear spandex anymore.
Okay, so there are 4 candidates. Just briefly tell us who the candidate. Now, but this is for the Republican nomination.
And that was what I was going to get into for a second. There's a Republican nomination, and I guess there's a Democrat one, but we haven't seen much of that yet. And I'm not really paying attention to the Democrat side because it's going to be a Republican mayor. But there's a Republican nomination in May, and then the general is in August of 2026. So I'm going to start off with who has declined to run. You have county commissioners that have declined to run. Greg Sanford, who would have been able to spend a lot of money. I believe he's going to be running for re-election. It seems like, although he might have left the door slightly open to be running for mayor, but at the moment it doesn't look like he's running. County Commissioner Brian Clifford is not running. And then you've got, there was Franklin Alderman Matt Brown was briefly. There were some efforts to recruit him to run, as there were Alderman Jason Potts as well. There were some conversations about that by several people, but they both declined. And of course, both Jason Potts and Matt Brown just won big victories the other day in the Franklin Alderman races. So, but the field as currently exists. There's a very, very rich businessman named Andy Marshall, and Andy is the owner of Puckett's.
Was the owner?
Was the owner of Puckett's that we made his money? Sorry, I was confused because apparently he did his
event
there.
But he still, he sold it to a group that he's friendly with.
Yeah, and to be true, and I'm going to be watching him because he's the one I know the least about, to be perfectly honest with you. Other than the fact that I love the restaurant Puckett's.
Puckett's is a great restaurant.
So,
right here in Franklin, and Nashville.
My wife does as well, but he seems to be the one that a lot of the county elected officials are excited about in the conversations.
Andy Marshall, number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2.
So Mary Smith is a sitting county commissioner. Mary, Mary is. There are definitively 2 candidates in this race that one would consider, whatever you want to call them, no growthers, completely anti-development. But she's an interesting one. Basically the Gary Humble side, the Tennessee Stands fringe side, candidates. Now, Mary is actually a little better than the side that she's kind of on because she tries to be all things to all people. Now, the irony is Mary Smith is a chameleon. She is anti-growth, but she's financed and backed by Donnie Cameron, who is a big multimillionaire developer with an extremely checkered past, by the way. We're on Varnished here. This is all in the Tennessean, mind you, but there's some Dixie Mafia ties that
alleged.
There's reports in the Tennessean on this.
By the way, some of these things that you're saying
are me saying.
You saying them.
Yes.
I don't know them. and I will just remind you.
But there are multiple,
of broadcast standards.
There is that.
I'm going to remind you of
there
that.
are multiple articles one can read in the Tennessean to find out about Donnie Cameron, which I would encourage. But he's a millionaire developer. He just did an event for Mary Smith, Gary Humble, and Brian Bethard. And the other thing is of course, Mary Smith acts like she's the most conservative person under the sun, but she also hangs out, like I said, with people like Brian Bethard, who's noted anti-school choice former candidate for state rep, and Grace Stranch, the DEI head of the Harpeth Conservancy, who
Who's number 3?
Number 3 is Brandon Ogles, who's also
I recognize that last name.
Who's also running. He's the other one who's running in the same lane, as we say, with Mary Smith. Kind of anti-development, hangs out with that fringe crowd. Obviously, there have been discussions, and I'm not sure how much of it is public, but let's just say checkered history there.
But now he is a cousin.
He's a cousin
of Andy Ogles. I don't know if he's his first cousin.
He may benefit, or it may be to his detriment, depending on who you're talking to.
But he's in.
The vote. He's in. He announced. By the way, I have to give Brandon a good-natured ribbing here. When you say on social media you're going to announce for mayor, you've already announced for mayor. Just weird little stylistic thing that I didn't like. He's like, hey guys, my mayor's announcement is this. And no, if you're going to announce, you just announce. And so he's running in that anti-growth, even though a lot of his business and most of his money was made on...
Who's number 4?
Number 4 is the Joe Biden of this campaign. Todd Kastner, who, I'll just be blunt about it, I keep slipping up and saying Susan Kastner is running for mayor of Williamson County because that's really what most people are saying. Todd Kastner is a perfectly nice guy, but people bury the leads here. He lost his last mayor's election. Mayor's election. He lost his last county commission election.
He
came in
did
third
serve
place
on the county commission.
He's also known for the realtors couldn't stand him because of the impact fees that he pushed through a tax.
Mm-hmm. So that was pushed through. That was a legislative accomplishment.
I have watched Todd in a room. I have watched Todd forget who people are. This is why I say the Joe Biden thing. I've watched Todd kind of bumble around a room. He seems like a perfectly nice human being, but to be perfectly honest with you, I think he has no business running for mayor.
So let me just pause here for a moment. I've had Todd here in studio. I think he's, quite on top of things. My personal view. I would say that he has a very successful record in business. Very successful. Made a lot of money.
Good. He has a terrible electoral record.
And but also has some very sound business ideas about the management of it. Now, I would say on the charisma wattage scale, not high. I would say that. But here's the question: does the county executive or the county mayor require to be high on the charisma wattage scene, or do they have to have a record of business success, which is, I think, one of his main advantages?
I would think it requires somebody to be the ability. And by the way, your show airs from 9 noon every day, which is easy hours to. I think those were the peak hours that Joe Biden had in terms of his energy when he was and then he took his naps after that. And listen,
of course, Aaron, incorrigible again.
Incorrigible. You advertise unvarnished. No, I think Todd Kastner has no business running for mayor because I personally don't think he's 100% with it. I think that you need somebody who has the ability to beat and be a team player for the county. I think you have at a minimum you need to have the ability to actually recognize the people that you see on a daily basis, and I've seen it time and time again. And frankly, when you go into meetings with people and you're talking to high-level people you've never met before, whether they're community leaders or developers, and your spouse does most of the talking during the meeting, you've got a problem there. Todd Kastner cannot stand on his own. And furthermore, his campaign team has decided to bully some people and call people up and threaten them.
So I will say
that are not involved in this race remotely, but they could have saved themselves some time.
He was fully capable of standing on his own when I interviewed him here. And by the way, I know Susan. She's a very accomplished person, a good friend.
This is one of those things where I think you could be perfectly fine and perfectly nice if you stay in your own lane. And the lane for Todd Kastner is not running for mayor.
Well, he thinks otherwise, and he's going to spend $250,000 to prove his point.
Well, maybe I'd be a good candidate for mayor, too. By the way, that's sarcastic, and that would be insane.
So what we just witnessed was the full Aaron Gulbinson.
60%.
60%. We'll have more when we get back.
Everyone, EJ Haast here, founder of the Digital Footprint Management Agency and frequent guest on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, here to tell you about GetFoundEverywhere.com. Customers are searching for your business everywhere: Google, Apple Maps, TikTok, and new AI platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini, which is a total disruptor. Traditional search engine optimization isn't dead, but it is on life support. Old tactics don't work anymore. So how can you make your business stand out? GetFoundEverywhere.com makes your business pop on over 50 search, map, review, and AI-driven platforms. With one easy dashboard, manage business profiles, social media accounts, direct messages, even texts and reviews. GetFoundEverywhere.com is affordable, boosts your visibility, and gets your business more customers. It's time to step up your game the easy way. Save time, save money, and get more customers with GetFoundEverywhere.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at GlockStore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at GlockStore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it, believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
This is Michael Patrick Leahy. Join Rutherford County Mayor Joe Carr, Senator Marsha Blackburn, Congressman Tim Burchett, and Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs, and me at T-Bones and Politics 2025 on the evening of November 10th in Murfreesboro for a night of great food, good fellowship, and inspiring political speeches. Get your tickets now. They're going fast at tbonesandpolitics2025.com. This is a great annual event. This year, musical entertainment will be provided by the Tremolo Honey Band. If you haven't heard them before, they are absolutely fantastic. This special event is sponsored by Barrett Firearms, Old South SRM, Moody Excavating, Azure Flight Management, and SEC Engineers. So go right now to tbonesandpolitics2025.com and get your tickets for T-Bones and Politics. It's an evening of great food and fun on November 10th. I'll see you there. Paid for by Joe Pack, William Ronsley, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. You know, Aaron, there's a bizarre political story on the Democratic side in Memphis, Tennessee. A bizarre, and the two names I'm going to mention are also affiliated with the adjective bizarre, because you've got the incumbent, Steve Cohen, who's 76 years old, a white liberal.
The only Democrat in Congress from the state of Tennessee.
Originally from Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you've got a challenger, Justin Pearson.
Yep.
Who was a freshman at Bowdoin College when Zoran Mamdani was a senior, and who apparently, when he came back to Memphis, suddenly decided that he was going to model himself on the Angela Davis black radicals of the 1960s, and is well known as one of the, quote, Tennessee Three, who were voted to be expelled. He was expelled. Justin Jones was expelled. Gloria Johnson was narrowly not expelled. They got voted back in. Thank you, Jody Barrett. Yeah, they got voted back in.
Yep.
He's had some personal difficulties, tragedy in his family, but he barely showed up as a state representative this time around. I don't know how many votes he missed, but I mean, I think he missed more than a majority of the votes.
He missed half the General Assembly. I mean, if you go through legislation, you just see that he wasn't there.
But he's backed by the Justice Democrats.
Yes, he is back, which is the group that put Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in office.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to expand the squad. You know, it's interesting to me, by the way, because if you look at the makeup of this squad, you've got a lot of, shall we say, ugly people both inside and out on there. You've got Ocasio-Cortez, you've got Rashida Tlaib, you've got Ilhan Omar, you've got the woman, was it who's the latest one?
Jasmine Crockett.
Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you've got, and then Justin Pearson is now vying for that. And now I will say, if there wasn't, without ugly, there'd be no beauty in life. So I just want to thank the squad for their sacrifice.
Well, who's going to win that race? Now,
probably Pearson.
Here's a caveat. Let's assume, which may not be correct, that the Supreme Court Voting Rights Act decision does not require the redrawing of congressional districts in Tennessee. Now, it might, but let's go with the current district for now. Why do you say, I don't disagree with you, but why do you say that Justin Pearson, who is a caricature of...
He's a cartoon caricature.
He's a cartoon caricature of a leftist, anti-American. Why do you say he will defeat Steve Cohen?
Because the most radical left of the left are going to be the ones voting in that Democrat primary. I mean, the funny thing is, I don't know what we are in bizarro land here, right? I mean,
we are totally in bizarro.
Steve Cohen being not leftist enough for the Democrat Party is a scary thing because he's a radical leftist nut job himself. But, you know, Justin Pearson is a young guy who, you know, has adopted a pro wrestling persona that, you know,
it is a bit of a
resembles if Malcolm X and a few of the other 60s radicals were to decide they were pro wrestlers. And, you know, he grew his hair out and all these other things. Because, I mean, listen, you could go back and look at what he was in college, and it's a completely different story, right? He's adopted a different rhetoric, adopted everything.
He was in college, he was very buttoned down.
Yeah.
But he's not buttoned down at all.
By the way, it's not normally that's not normally your progression in life. You college kids normally get more conservative the older they get. They don't decide that they're going to become a Naked Gun version of a politician, right? I mean, a parody, which is a parody movie for those of you who don't know movie trivia. But he'll probably win because he's got more. I mean, the Justice Democrats know what they're doing when it comes to taking out old
white guys.
Yeah.
Well,
that's right.
and that's what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez did.
Yep.
In the Bronx, where she took with Joseph Crowley, had been around there. I think that was his name.
And he was a member of leadership.
And he was an old white guy, and he didn't pay attention.
Yeah.
Now I think Steve Cohen's paying attention, but he is 76, and you know he's not. He's the old guard, and he's not as bad as he is. He's not fully crazy, as Justin Pearson is.
So the question in that race, the behind the scenes question in that race is how many of the other Democrats? Because listen, to be very clear, in the General Assembly, this is not a secret. They're better at hiding it publicly anyway. Is Democrats in leadership do not like Justin Pearson.
No, they don't, because
they don't like Justin Jones either.
Yeah, because all they do is yell and scream.
They're petulant kids.
Yeah,
they don't like Afton Bain either. By the way,
they don't accomplish anything. They just get up and do social media influencers and speeches and show up on MSNBC and say white man bad.
And they show no respect to their elders, and
Oh, they have contempt for anybody who's not a part of their far left miscreants.
I mean, I think it was Johnny Shaw that I heard from one of my friends in the General Assembly that Pearson and Jones walk over to on the floor a lot and go, just we're going to primary you. And I think Johnny's retiring now, but he's in a he's like an 80-year-old Democrat in the general assembly. But yeah, so that the question, there's a long way of saying the question is how many knives are going to get thrown in Justin Pearson's chest and back and any other extremity by sitting Democrats behind the scenes to keep him out of office. Justice Democrats don't care, and obviously they've demonstrated they're very good at winning far-left Democrat primaries by putting Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in there. The other dynamic on that race is the few amount of Republicans in Memphis. Do they decide to go over and try to prevent the most liberal guy from getting the nomination too?
I don't see it.
I don't. It doesn't.
I mean, and the district is
work.
It's like 70% black district, something like that. Very high level.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a far left Democrat district. They rule the roost over there.
And I mean, there's going to be more money for Justin Pearson.
Yep.
Than there is for Steve Cohen.
Yeah, and I don't know how much cash on hand that Cohen has, but no, it literally is going to be, I'm a crazy left, this would be Justin Pearson doing the most extreme version of his far left motif.
Yeah.
So bad that Justin Pearson speaks in an affected voice, by the way. It's like John Kerry in a different way 20 some odd years later. Did you ever see John Kerry drop his affected voice?
Yeah. So now let's go on. So Memphis right now, if that district remains the same, you and I both think Justin Pearson is going to beat Steve Cohen.
Yep.
Yeah. And then he'll go right off into the sunset of wherever. He'll go to the beach in Delaware with Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Although he's more on the ball mentally.
Yeah.
He's just a leftist.
No, he can go to the beach, and then Todd Kastner can join him after he loses the mayor's race.
That's a very snide comment.
But of course,
I think Todd's more on the ball than you give him credit for. But okay, so let's talk about.
Will
JD.
he submit to a cognitive test, Michael? All right, back to.
I'm sure he would.
I'm getting you
so
in so
let's
much
go
trouble
to
today.
JD Vance. JD Vance was at this great rally at Ole Miss yesterday, 10,000 people, and he did the Charlie Kirk answer the question thing.
Yep.
He was quite good, I thought. And one kid asked him about Memphis, and he said, well, they're rounding up illegal aliens, and they discovered 378 illegal firearms. Isn't that terrible, according to the Second Amendment? I thought J.D. Vance was very effective at responding to that.
J.D. Vance is going to be a great president of the United States.
Let's go to this clip here right now. J.D. Vance talking about any potential rivalry with Marco Rubio.
The president doesn't mention who will be running for president and who vice president. Now, everyone assumes it would be you, but Marco Rubio is 13 years older. He's run for president before. Would there be any tension there?
First of all, no, there's not going to be any tension. Marco is my best friend in the administration. He and I work a lot together.
Right.
And we really do, I think, a lot of the good work that we've been able to do as an administration is because we're all able to work together. And again, this is why I say worrying too much about the politics actually, I think, makes you worse at the job that you have. I never want to wake up. And so far, I've never woken up and thought to myself, how do I make myself president of the United States? What I wake up and think to myself is, how do I do a good job as vice president? And I think Marco Rubio asks himself, how do I do a good job as Secretary of State? And that should be the question that each of us keeps on asking ourselves.
Okay.
There's one deficiency, and I don't blame J.D. Vance for this. He didn't mention all the other titles that Marco Rubio has as well.
Yeah.
Because that would have made the clip another 30 seconds longer. It's
interesting. He says, Marco Rubio is my best friend in the administration.
Yeah.
Is that what on a 1 to 10 scale for authenticity? Where do you rate that?
Oh, I'm sure it's 100% authentic. I mean, I can walk into a Chili's later on and put my arm around somebody I just met and say, this is my best friend in this Chili's. So, I mean, I think it is authentic. They work very close together. I also think that it's a loaded statement, right? This is my best friend in this in any caveat scenario.
So here's the thing: if you look at all the polling, right? Emerson did a poll, or University of New Hampshire did a poll, and for 2028 Republicans, and J.D. Vance was like 52%, and Marco Rubio was like at 12%. Although Marco Rubio is like a decade plus older.
Yep.
And
doesn't really look it,
has
though.
more experience.
Yep.
J.D. Vance, I think, is the heir apparent.
Well, A, he's the vice president. B, I just look at the future of the Republican Party and the future of the United States of America, and I think nobody articulates the Republican position better than J.D. Vance for the future.
Yep.
I'm for J.D. Vance.
Aaron, when we come back, News Potpourri.
There you go.
This is Tom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
I flew 9 combat tours taking out terrorists.
Matt Van Epps, America First warrior.
When my Chinook took enemy fire, I kept her in the air, got our guys, and completed the mission.
Matt Van Epps, American hero.
Now I'm on a new mission to help Trump save America. I'm Matt Van Epps. I approve this message because I know what to do with terrorists. So these woke wannabes in Washington better take cover.
Matt Van Epps, the conservative warrior Trump needs.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Aaron Gulbinson, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, News Potpourri. This is the portion of the program where we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and may have a touch of
irony.
Well, we've got this election coming up.
We do.
The special general election, December 2nd. Matt Van Epps, the Republican nominee, against the far left, self-described AOC of Tennessee, Afton Bain. The left actually had pretty strong turnout in Davidson County.
They did. And
they're kind of coming all in for her. We've got an event. Somebody's coming down to campaign for her.
Another member of the squad, Jasmine Crockett. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe Justin Pearson will show up there too and try.
It'll
try
be
to
wild. When's it going to be? In later November.
Based on the Twitter, I think we're saying Friday, November 7th.
Well, that'll be wild. And
you want to go, Mike?
It will be an indicator of what level of turnout they'll have in Davidson County. We saw an internal poll that the Afton Bain team released that showed her down by 10 points with 7% undecided. They release these things to kind of give people hope that they could win, but if it's 10 points, that's something to be concerned about.
I mean, there's an old saying in politics: if your enemy's drowning, shove a hose down his throat. That's how I do my politics, and I will make no apologies for it. So all that to say, I think that the Republicans. First of all, I'm supporting Matt Van Epps. All my friends are supporting Matt Van Epps. I'm actually going to it. But I think anybody who's there's a long way to say is I think anybody who's supporting Matt Van Epps, who supports the President of the United States, cannot let their foot off the gas on this race. You've got to beat Afton Bain 65-35. This is a woman who, I mean, her voting record shows that she sides with child sex traffickers. She's she prefers criminal illegal aliens to American citizens. She's a radical left.
And basically was impeding ICE officers.
Yeah,
she
brags
with
about
social media posting. All right, and there's other personal stuff that we won't get into.
Yeah, no, and
That's
she doesn't
weird.
know how to trim her eyebrows.
Allegedly.
That's what we're talking about, right? Go on.
Let's go. Nancy Pelosi is telling yet another lie about the No Kings protest. And by the way, just be ready for this one. Here we go.
Because I see the Democrats every day. You saw a march that was not political, and the value of it was that it wasn't political. No King's Day. It was spontaneous, organic, but everybody was there. And that's what's important is what are the people thinking? What are they?
Okay, so, this is the woman who forced Joe Biden to step down because he'd lost his fastball. She's lost her fastball. I mean, really.
I guess No King's Day was really a thinly disguised protest against Burger King for their quality of their food going downhill over the years. I don't know.
It wasn't organic. It was funded by all these leftist billionaire types who want to destroy our constitutional republic.
Okay.
But Pelosi's lost her fastball big time.
She does remember she's so old she remembers our first No King's Day, which was in 1776.
She was there.
So she was there on the side of the British, mind you. Which, by the way, I'm toying with the idea here. You tell me what you think, because there is a little bit of entertainment with what we do here, and a little bit of I do my fair share of either outright joking or at least hiding my. Not really hiding, but using jokes to make a point. But what do you think we do? We should do like a comedy open mic night, Tennessee political comedy open mic night at some point in the next. What do you think?
I'm for it.
Would you go?
Let me just say
this is what they call a trial balloon, Michael.
Yeah, I think it would have a small audience. Okay, and I would probably find it hilarious, but I don't think the audience would be that big. Speaking of small audiences,
this is true.
So the Senate, we've got a couple of Republicans in the Senate who really hate Donald Trump. And so they're passing these symbolic votes. They voted to block Donald Trump's tariffs on Brazil. I think they were like 5 Republicans who voted to do that. It's very symbolic because this is going to be, the House is not going to take it up. But on Wednesday, they voted to block his tariffs on Canada. Now, remember, Canada did this stupid ad just to kind of influence American politics, taking something from Ronald Reagan, and the Reagan Foundation sued them for on tariffs.
Right.
And Trump said, okay, you want to play hardball, guys? He raised the tariffs to 35%. Now, the vote in the Senate, 50 to 46, they got 4 Republicans siding with the Democrats. And I know this will shock you, but the 4 Republicans were Susan Collins of Maine, Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, Rand Paul of Kentucky, and Mitch McConnell of Kentucky. Your thoughts on this?
I'm distracted by the fact that Marjorie Taylor Greene is going on The View, so we need to get the Republicans all need to the Republicans that are opposing President Trump need to, and I continually see Rand being upset that he was disinvited from a picnic. They all need to,
and then
the
back
president.
Invited. But
yeah.
Can I tell you what? I'm getting real tired of the Kentucky libertarians, Thomas Massey and Rand Paul. And Rand Paul, look, on principle, that's fine, but you're not effective, and you're just irritating people.
It's just, listen, it's personal grandstanding. Thomas Massey needs to go.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I'm with President Trump on that.
Yep.
And Mitch McConnell is going, and we'll see about the others.
Yep.
Aaron Culberson, thank you, as always, for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock Central Time. I hope you have a great day. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com. Listen to Michael Patrick Leahy and make America great again.
FlatFeeNashville.com is a full-service real estate brokerage that charges homeowners a upfront flat fee of $999 to completely list, market, and sell your home. We are all about saving consumers money, saving that equity. Nobody should hire an agent and feel like when that agent walks in the door, that agent is more concerned about the down payment on their next Mercedes purchase versus saving the equity that those homeowners have worked hard for. I've spent my entire career in ensuring that the equity that people save and they put into their monthly mortgage every single month, as much of that as we possibly can goes back to them when they go to list and sell that home. The idea is to give homeowners the ability to really create generational wealth.
FlatFeeNashville.com, FlatFeeNashville.com.